bark at you?
Yeah, your little hair listing.
Yeah.
First question, please introduce yourself, first and last name, and what you do.
Oh boy, my name is Jorge Orozco, also known as T-Lag or Tlaquilo. And what else?
Before becoming a photographer, obviously you served in military, correct?
Yep.
How long did you serve, and what challenges did you face during that?
I was in the Army for close to 19 years. I was medically retired for some injuries, but it's not something I set out to do. It just kind of happened. The military was never, like a first choice. It was more of a, if I don't have anything else going on, it's gonna be my backup, just for the sake of building stability and structure for life. So that's one of the main reasons why it was an option and I took it.
Was there anything that changed the way that you saw the world now?
Yeah, actually, so I joined in 2005. I was a quick ship. Basically, as soon as I enlisted, went to MEPS, did my testing. I qualified to ship within 10 days. I went to boot camp at my specialty school, and I came back, I think, November, December of 2005. By March, I was already rostered to be deployed. So everything just kind of happened back to back to back. I think if it hadn't been for that deployment, I probably would have had a different path, but it was that first deployment that kind of opened my eyes to how good we have it here versus how less fortunate some people are around, the globe, and how limited they are in not just their freedom of speech, but freedom in general.
What would you say was the hardest part about coming back home?
Which time? I mean, I've been gone a few times because I was trying to figure out life. Plus, I had my kid, I had my wife. Try to make everything work. I want to say it was a different version of who I am now. In those years, I think my priorities were a little bit mixed around, and the transition was hard. This last time around, I don't think it was as hard. I think the only difference is, I deployed, I get hurt, I come home, and I get retired. So I think I spent the last 2 years of my military career, just kind of bouncing around, waiting for them to tell me you're free. That transition was difficult because, my first deployment, I went from being overseas, coming home, and still on active duty for, doing my job. This time around, I get to put the uniform up and I don't get to wear it again. So that was a little bit difficult because it becomes an identity crisis. You spent the last 19 years routine, PT, do your job, on to the next, following orders, creating plans, taking care of soldiers, gaining more responsibility as you rank up, and then one day you have to put it away. So that gets a little bit hard because, at this time and age in life, I'm supposed to know who I am, and I know who I am, and I've known who I am. It's just now that I don't get to put on that uniform in that part of my life, it becomes a little bit of a chaotic mindset just because I got to figure out what's next. I got to figure out who I need to be now. I can no longer be who I used to be. I can no longer speak who I used to speak. I no longer command a room the way I used to command a room. So it's a little bit of a humble experience. I get to finally take a deep breath, relax, and make the best of living out, whatever years I have left of me.
When coming back, did you get into photography as you came back, or how did photography come into your life?
No, photography, it's a story that, I always tell it, and it always goes back to the same. So I immigrated to the States when I was 7, 8 years old. To this day, I have 5 or 6 pictures of me, from age 3 till teenager 8 years, So I don't have that many pictures. I don't have that much to look back on other than memories. So I told myself early on, when and if I ever have kids, whether I'm good at it or not, I'm going to pick up a camera and start documenting. I want to be able to give them something to look back on just because I didn't have nothing to look back on. So that's what drove me to photography. I didn't think it would bring me to who I am now, and kind of establish the life that I have right now. But I'm grateful for it. I mean, I took a chance, and it's something that was out of my skill set, but I got pretty good at it. So it's a way of documenting life. It's a way of catching moments. It's a way of storytelling without words. You know, if somebody can look at a picture and feel some type of connection, some type of a feeling, you know, a feeling in general. If you can look at one of my images and feel something, or imagine what that moment was like, or kind of sink yourself into it, kind of like when you watch a movie, then I did my job. If I'm able to capture a moment that, you know, that person may not have again, then I feel like I've done my job. If I'm able to capture a moment that people are gonna cherish and be happy with, and you know, I pretty much done my job, or I feel fulfilled.
Were there any parts of your life that you chose not to pretty much talk about or like photograph, and why?
Yeah, there's some moments, you know, that, and I'm gonna quote there was a movie called, I think it's called The Wonderful Life of Walter Mitty, but there's a scene where Ben Stiller's character goes out to, I want to say Iceland, and he goes to Afghanistan. He's looking for this photographer that he's kind of chasing after for a picture that he's missing, and he finally catches up to him in some mountain in Afghanistan. He's there to photograph and watch, I think some kind of jaguar, some kind of feline. They both see the feline across the way through the lens, and Ben Stiller's character is asking him, "Are you not gonna take the picture?" He's like, "No." He goes, "Some moments are just for me." He goes, "Some moments I don't like to press the shutter. I like to forget about the camera, and I like to just remember them for me." So that quote right there has kind of lived with me for a while. And there are some times where I'll be photographing a sports game, whatever it is I'm photographing. There are certain moments where I'm so caught up in what's going on that I think I forget about the camera, and I kind of live that moment. But in retrospect, it's just some moments are important to catch. Some are better off just kind of experiencing them by yourself. You know, what you feel versus what somebody else feels versus what the third person will feel, they're all different feelings. But I feel like there's a feeling of accomplishment, fulfillment that you get sometimes where a picture's not necessary, at least for myself.
Obviously, you shoot for a lot of high schools in Madeira. Overall, getting that experience, what does that actually like mean to you, giving back to all these kids that possibly wouldn't have gotten photos if you didn't continue doing this?
You know, it's a good feeling. I got started with Madeira only because, you know, sports programs are pretty good there. In my opinion, they still don't get the respect that they should get from outside districts, Fresno, Central, Clovis. So it took a while. It took maybe about a year and a half before I fully got the ball rolling with all three high schools. But you know, being able to do what I can to expose and push my community out there, especially with sports. I mean, I couldn't think of a better feeling, just because, you know, I'm getting to know these young athletes. On top of that, I happen to know who their parents are here and there, just because of the age gap and the generation that I come from. But to see my work pushed out there, it means the world, man, just because, you know, anybody else could be doing it, but for some reason I just happen to be the one lucky enough to get that opportunity, to be put on the spotlight and exposed.
For sure, final question. What is one thing you want people to understand from your story?
It's never too late. And that's something that I always show my kids too. It's never too late to chase, you know, a dream or something that's kind of been in the back of your head for X amount of time. You know, we're built to work and contribute to society and live the norms, pay bills, pay taxes. And most of us have this need to just adapt to the way society wants us to, which is fine, don't get me wrong. We're all built to be a society, but don't sacrifice putting aside what you really want to do in life just to fit in or follow a structure. I did the soldier thing for almost 20 years, and I thought it was going to be life. And then I found new life in what I do now. So if there's one big thing, it's not too late. It is never too late to change paths. It's never too late to change careers. At the risk of not sacrificing your mental health or your psyche or your motivation to, just keep moving forward. So if there's really one thing I want people to like take away from all of this is it's just never too late. It's never late. Don't be afraid to take a risk, especially when it's on yourself. You never know what's on the other side of the rainbow till you cross it.